Managing an organization as large and complex as the FBI requires a definitive idea of where we are now and where we hope to be in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. That's where our strategy comes in. The FBI strategy enables bureau leaders and managers to define and pursue objectives crucial to mission success, prioritize resources to achieve those objectives, track progress along the way, address gaps when identified, and, most importantly, deliver consistent results. The FBI strategy is periodically reviewed and adapted to align with the changing threat landscape and organizational climate.
August 15, 2024. Press release. New Mexico man who sexually and physically abused a young teen following abduction from a Kennewick home. Sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Richland, Washington. Vanessa R. Waldref, United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington, announced today that Lucas Daniel Murphy, age 38, was sentenced after pleading guilty to 1 count of online enticement of a minor. United States District Judge Mary K. Dimk imposed a sentence of 240 months imprisonment to be followed by a lifetime of supervised release. Judge Dimk called Murphy's actions ugly and noted few offenses are more serious or cause more harm than this. Directly addressing the victim, Judge Dimk said, "Thank you for being here today. You are incredibly strong and brave to be here today. If you can be here today to stand up for yourself, you can do anything." According to court documents and information presented at the sentencing hearing, in August of 2021, Murphy met a 13-year-old minor using an online application. Despite knowing the victim was 22 years his junior, Murphy began communicating regularly with the victim on Snapchat. At first, Murphy and the victim discussed shared interests in music. Over time, the communications changed and involved Murphy instructing the victim to engage in sex acts over live Snapchat video. He also directed the victim to send specific sexually explicit photos. Murphy expressed a desire to be with the victim, which culminated in a plan to travel to the victim's location, pick up the victim and transport the victim back to Murphy's home in New Mexico. In December of 2021, the victim was staying with friends at a location in Kennewick, Washington. On or about December 18, 2021, Murphy drove from New Mexico to Kennewick, Washington, where he took the 13-year-old victim from a residential area. Murphy drove the victim to his residence in New Mexico. During the drive, Murphy provided the victim with alcohol and marijuana and sexually abused the victim. The two remained at Murphy's residence in New Mexico for several days. Murphy returned to work while the victim remained at Murphy's residence. During this time, Murphy continued to sexually abuse the victim. On December 22, 2021, Federal Bureau of Investigation agents and local New Mexico law enforcement officers surrounded Murphy's residence. The victim was rescued from the location and Murphy was taken into custody. The victim was taken to the hospital interviewed by a certified forensic interviewer. Investigators documented bruises on the victim's neck and leg. Months later, when the victim was ready, Southeast Regional Internet Crimes Against Children investigators traveled to the victim's location and conducted a painstaking interview, documenting the extent of Murphy's abuse. As a parent, I am horrified by Mr. Murphy's conduct. Mr. Murphy meticulously planned the abduction of his young victim and took steps to make it difficult for law enforcement to track his whereabouts. Mr. Murphy repeatedly physically and sexually abused his victim, resulting in significant trauma for the victim and their family. While no sentence can replace the horrors the victim faced, hopefully, it will serve as an important step on a long road to healing, stated U.S. Attorney Waldref. I want to commend the excellent work done by the Kennewick Police Department in the initial steps of this case, as well as the stellar follow-up investigation undertaken by our federal and local partners in Washington and New Mexico. The collaboration between our local and federal law enforcement agencies brought this victim home. Today, that victim stood before the court and the community, addressed the harm the defendant caused, and demonstrated that this harm will not define the victim's life, said Assistant United States Attorney Laurel Holland. I am humbled by the strength of the victim and the victim's family, and grateful for all of the community partners who enabled this outcome. Child sex offenders prey on the most vulnerable victims. While today's sentencing cannot erase the harm inflicted upon the victim, I hope that it will serve as the first step towards closure, said FBI, Albuquerque Special Agent in Charge Raul Buhanda. The FBI and our law enforcement partners will never stop working to put predators who harm children behind bars. These are incredibly disturbing cases to investigate, but each time we're able to step in and protect a child victim from further sexual abuse, it's a good day. Today's sentencing reflects our unwavering commitment to justice and the protection of our community's most vulnerable members, said Richland Police Department Interim Chief, Craig Meadle. The actions of this individual were heinous and will have lifelong impacts on the victim and her family. We remain dedicated to ensuring that perpetrators of such crimes are held accountable and that victims find the support they need to begin their healing process. Our thoughts are with the survivor and their family as they move forward from this traumatic experience. This was a targeted assault on a child, trading away their innocence and safety for a lifetime of scars, said Special Agent in Charge Robert Hammer, who oversees HSI operations in the Pacific Northwest. It is my intent that HSI, alongside our partners in federal and local law enforcement, will not only hold child predators like Murphy accountable for their crimes, but increase our methods of educating the public on ways to identify potential abusers lurking online. This case was brought as part of Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse launched in May 2006 by the Department of Justice. Led by U.S. Attorneys' offices and CEOs, Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state, and local resources to better locate, apprehend and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the Internet, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information about Project Safe Childhood, please visit www.justice.gov/PSC. This case was investigated by the Kennewick Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Southeast Regional Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, Homeland Security Investigations, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office, and the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office in New Mexico. This case was prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorney Laurel Holland.
Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.